Has it ever happened in your life that one action that you took, consciously or unconsciously, led to hurting one of your pets? Or, well, even worse, led to more serious accidents, whether to humans or, let's say, your household pets as well? And or, let's say it like that. See, such events can happen. The only problem that I have with such events is that humans end up suffering so much and imposing so much pain upon them. Now, the question is all of that trauma that they're going through a good thing or a bad thing? Well, this video is here to tell you that there is, let's say, one good and one bad thing. And let's dive into it. It may happen in your life that, especially when you have cubs, or let's say children, right? Whether you have to take care of someone else's children or whether you have your own children, or pets, especially cubs, it can happen that some accidents may occur. You may step on them, you may bump into them, whatever may happen, it can end in a serious injury. Yes, things can go very bad. And well, the only thing that's left to do is, call an ambulance or take them to the hospital or an animal hospital, somewhere where they can be taken care. Things like that can happen. You can be the most responsible parent or person, right, if you have pets in the world, and still accidents can happen. I always remind people, see, in order to have pets, you have to understand how they function, how they think. Yes, because if you just have pets and you don't know shit about them, so many things will happen and you'll just feel defenseless. What will happen when you feel defenseless? The whole range of misery and drama that you have been well versed into by your peers, maybe parents, maybe, older brothers, actions that happened, your past history, like this, life's history, events you've gone through, and generally miserable people around, right? It's all about, in a sick society, it's all about how much people raise for the drama, right? The unfortunate thing is when truly dramatic things happen, yes, like hurting someone accidentally and the such, you will impose way more pain upon yourself than you should. This also stems from the fact that you don't know how your physical body functions and the amount of damage you're causing to your body. So first and foremost, you have to understand, typically have pets as cats and dogs. I think they are the most typical. Some maybe have reptiles and the such. But when it comes to cats and dogs, they are predators by default. One of their behaviors, especially as kids and or, well, puppies, is that they ambush their parents, right? It's just a play. They have to practice their, and rehearse their reflexes. Especially cats do that all the time. They will probably pounce on you, and they will pretend that they're hiding and then suddenly pounce on you because they are wild animals in the end. Yes, you have given them a place in your house. Let's stop pretending that, cats act as, you belong to them and your house is theirs. Okay, this is just irrelevant theater that you play in your mind. You pay taxes for that house. That cat lives in your house. Yes, you love them, but in the end, things are the way they are. Don't let your imagination slip too much because in a sick society, in a sick world, what is the first thing that you learn? That no matter what, you are a monster. Yes, and God forbid you do anything that you're a monster. You do something different than the other miserable piece of shit people that you have around, or you're definitely a monster. You're gonna do something that you naturally feel it was bad because of accident or not knowing, and the whole drama kicks in. I'm not pro nor against this, but people, I feel they suffer a bit too much. See, life will not stop for you to experience your drama. Things will happen. People will live, people will betray you. Animals, you see, one thing when you take pets, you have to understand the fact that they have a shorter lifespan than you typically. And, well, sooner or later, you may find them simply having passed away. It is I can't say it unfortunate, but it is an event that will happen. See, I have been used to graveyards and the such ever since I was young, and the first thing I do by default when I meet someone or when I care for someone is imagine how my life will be without them as well. Because in the end, it doesn't matter how long you get to live. The This event can feel so unfathomable for others, but people in your life can also perish as well. Pets can also perish. So you have to be, in a way, prepared for that. People have to understand, don't overinvest in your thoughts. Your thoughts are a good engine for actions only. If you just invest in your thoughts, your life will simply pass away. Yes, accidents happen, car crashes happen, people die, people are born, life goes on. See, if one of your pets gets injured and you have multiple pets, you'll see the other pets will probably crawl around you and cuddle around you and they will try to calm you down, right? Have you noticed that? I guess a lot of people have. I'm not used with pets. I was never allowed to have pets, nor did I even want them because I've always had responsibility, or at least the thought of responsibility. And for the longest time, I could barely take care of myself, being through almost endless years of crippling depression. And when you go through that, and you're also aware that you simply can't use pets as an escape, because if you can barely take care of yourself, you barely eat and such because of crippling depressions, a pet's life is not going to be in any way, shape, or form better, because pets, especially cats and dogs, tend to replicate very well the behavior of their, let's say, owner, or, well, yeah, let's say owner. So when it comes to pets, see, they are wild animals. You have to understand the core function of them is that they are wild animals. They don't have time for mourning much. Even when they do, it's just a silent mourning and then they go on with living life. You are once like that as well. But as misery kicked in through the thousands of generations before us, we ended up programming each and every following generation that everything that happens, death is such a horrible thing because of narcissistic tendencies this sick society is thinking of. Death is always the horrible thing as per narcissistic behaviors. And obviously, everything has to be dramatized as if everything is a sin, everything is bad, whatever you do is, you're evil and such. See, let's say you went through a horrible accident, something happened, your pet got either crippled, but they recovered, or, well, maybe they passed away, unfortunately. You're going to create so much drama within you. Yes? Everything is going to feel within you that you're some kind of terrible monster. Well, I'm not trying to belittle any of the events, but you have to understand when such drama occurs, your life will go on. It will not wait for you to get over with it. Unfortunately, we get so used to drama and to imposing pain upon us. But just look yourself in the mirror for a bit. If you feel bitter and sad about that, well, it's not going to make things in any way, shape, or form better, right? Worse than that, your physical body can handle the pain, but you're gonna do almost even irreversible pain and damage to your body. Because you have to understand your body is made out of billions upon billions of cells that each share your own emotions and states. If you feel bad about you constantly, don't be surprised that sooner or later, one day you might end up having cancer. Because it only takes 1 second to convince your brain that you are not worth of living, and it will trigger some kind of self-destructive pattern within, a self-destructive action, let's say. And, well, one of those typically is cancer. Someone is perfectly healthy, no problem, but suddenly out of nowhere, cancer strikes. Don't forget your body fights cancer, probably even a few hundred, probably even thousands cancerous preformations each and every day. And you're not even thanking your body much, right? And when things happen and drama kicks in, you have to understand the fact that you actually cried shows in a way that you cared, right? When the accident triggered, you did what you could. Maybe you took the pet off the streets. Well, that by default means you have allowed that being, in a way, the good part is you somehow raised that poor animals' chances for survival. But at the same time, you kind of negated their freedom. Yes? You have to understand one thing. You cannot ever call yourself a savior by picking up an animal, a wild animal, and bringing them to your home. You can walk them any much you want. Still, if they were free, they would have lived pretty well, right? The unfortunate reality is that a lot of the stray animals perish, especially at the early age, because that is why animals give birth to a lot of cubs, so that at least a few survive. Diseases, conditions like weather and the such can take a toll. Yes, predators, they all can take a toll. Even humans can be bad enough at times with animals. Some people, unfortunately, a lot of people end up taking pets because they think those pets will keep them company and will replace the human necessity, right? Because they're kind of way too stupid to socialize. And they will probably keep lying themselves, right? That a cat or a dog will keep them better company than a human. Well, those people are always a red flag to me and they're kind of irrelevant. So I don't ever take those into account. They don't have any place in my life. But in the end, when it comes to your pets, you have to understand every action has, let's say, something good or bad. You can take an animal, and animals are also comfortable beings. Yes, they will easily give up their freedom for comfort because imagine being a stray animal is somewhat difficult, but they have all the means necessary to survive as well. Because don't forget, we live in a sick society. In this sick society, people don't care much about their own kind, but they will gladly take care of a cat or a dog. So that is the reason why there are so many stray dogs and cats in the first place, right? In many parts of the world, one may say. The very fact that an accident happened and you cried for that shows that you actually cared. Then, in the end, what else can you do? Well, you took them to a hospital, to a center that, specialized people will do their best to take care of them. Yes, you still did that as well. So, if you look yourself in the mirror, you're most likely not that much of a monster that you have been programmed to consider yourself as. In the end, as I've been telling you, see, every time you impose pain upon yourself, your physical body gets destabilized in a way. Your immunity system simply doesn't function the same while you are pained, while you are grieving, while you suffer, right? Why does a sick society always want you like that? Pain, fear, it simply cancels almost your defensive immunity system. Yes, you get diseased more easily. And then, well, you can pay all your money to their fucking medicine, which most likely won't fix anything about you in the first place, right? So it is far more important to take care of you. Yes, accidents will happen, unfortunately. But in the end, don't spend too much time in the house of disappointment. Because out of there's gonna be a death spiral. It's always gonna be a death spiral. And it's gonna go again and again. You will lose focus just because you focus on one unfortunate thing that happened, and then even more unfortunes or misfortunes, whatever you call them, will probably trigger. And then you're going to blame yourself even more and even more. That is why I always tell people it is not worth staying in that state for too long. Some people may call me insensitive. See, I'm a pantheist by design. Every time I walk, I always look downwards because I don't want to step on ants or insects or the such. All the beings are precious to me. A tree is equally precious to a bug and the such. And when I was young, I would even cry a lot for those. I would even pick up random objects from the ground and bring them home because of the abandonment issues that were crippling me ever since birth. Because that was the karma that I brought with me from previous lifetimes. It took me a long time to realize, but my parents would only call me a kleptomaniac. They couldn't ever bother or understand the deeper aspects of those. But in the end, it allowed me to invest time into trying to find what the source of such behavior was. And in time, I ended up thinking, who am I to think that if I injure a pet, like a cat, for example, that cat should be more important than a bug or a bee? See, in the end, a bee will have a far greater impact for the nature herself than a cat can. Yes, a cat can have, can catch mice, can do this and that. But a bee will, for example, take care of pollination and such. We need plants to breathe. Without plants, you don't breathe, you die instantly, so you won't be even capable of caring for your cat. Yes? That is why I'm always saying, who are you to think that that cat is far more important than anything else? That cat for nature is equally important, right? Every being is equally important. So the question is, why would you think that that animal is far more important? They are only more important because you invested emotionally into those. If it were a regular cat on the street, you probably wouldn't even care much, because that's how shallow most people's emotions are. Only when you are a true pantheist, not pretending to be one or reading about pantheism and you want to act like that. When one of your functional cores is that of pantheism, then you will know true pain, what it feels like when you get the misfortune of watching a cat being run down by a car in front of you. It's like your whole body shivers as if you have been the one that happened to. Yes? And I'm not talking just because of me being somewhat of a powerful empath, right? Being an empath and also pantheistic by design, I assure you the amount of pain one can feel simply pales in comparison to, you know, simply the amount of pain people usually feel for their pets when accidents happen pale in comparison to how much pain an empath and a pantheist at the same time can go through. And you realize one thing, because animals, you don't need to just keep them as pets. Animals are good teachers as well. See, when you accidentally, let's say, wound one of your pets, the other ones that you have they will go there, they will see that they can't do anything, and then they will try to comfort you. Typically, it happens. Have you noticed that? They will try to comfort you. Why? Because they just live life. Yes? To them, if one of their sibling dies, they will simply live life. You once used to be like that before this misery simply crumbled us. This is not ignorance, yes, because you are capable of crying. And obviously, that is all the proof that you want that you are not ignorant, yes? But yet again, you don't want to invest too much time into that misery because you're investing time and energy into that aspect that whatever you do is bad. This is the greatest pandemic within all of us, the greatest disease within all of us that simply cripples us and simply gets the worst out of us all the time. When you look at those animals, they are very befuddled, confused, obfuscated, because there is literally nothing wrong with you. Animals can sense when you're ill. Yes, many can. Even dogs, in cats, dogs can even, I heard, smell cancerous cells within you. Yes, so animals can feel that, you know, that you'd be ill, even before you realize that. And for whatever reason you're in pain, they will try to come to comfort you. You're not physically wounded, nothing happens, and well, do they care about their sibling that got hurt, maybe even died close to them? Yes, of course they do. But for the animals, it's just a silent suffering because their life is very short. Don't forget, your pets are just wild animals. Yes, they live their life with you, but they are wild animals in the end. So the very simple point you have to realize is they usually don't have that much time. They have to live life as is because dangers are lurking everywhere. Maybe they are safer in your house, but still dangers can occur. Yes? Even in your own house, they are not safe from harm. Yes? Unfortunately, one of your cats may enter, your washing machine in between your clothes. You might not realize, you may start your washing machine, your cat may perish because of that. You may move away, you may not hear the cat cry, and well, the accident happened. You have to realize such accidents can happen. It may simply crawl under, clothes that you have spread on your beds. You may take a seat on them, right? Your weight may crush them or may severely wound them. Maybe they will not survive. It can happen. You have to understand, not even in your home can they actually be safe. Even in your garden, they may not be safe. Someone else's animal may come in, they might have a fight, well, they may not survive. But to most people, it only hurts a lot because they think they are the culprits. See, you're only a culprit when you're doing something consciously. Yes? When you're doing something consciously, that's when you are a culprit. Some people will blame themselves endlessly that they have not seen it. See, I remind people you only have two eyes. And those eyes, you are not like a chameleon to look in different directions. You have one single angle that you can look at. Yes? Out of all the 360 degrees that you can look, let's say if you turn around yourself, downwards, upwards, left, right? You can only see one direction. Yes? And your focus is typically in that direction. Yes, you have peripheral vision as well, but not always will you take that into account. So accidents can happen. Don't forget, animals while they are young, they'll probably prowl upon you and try to ambush you, but oftentimes ending under your feet, right? They're probably used to stepping, unfortunately, on a cat's tail, on a dog's tail, or probably on their limbs, or tripping because you did not see them. Anything can happen. Just enjoy life in the end. See, being someone who silently suffers and doesn't invest too much into those is not about being an ignorant. The very simple fact that you're crying is the proof that you need that you're not an ignorant. The problem here is a lot of people overindulge in that because of that stupid belief that everything about them is bad, right? You may have hurt accidentally your pet. They maybe have perished. Now you're going to consider yourself a killer. Yes, you may have done a bad prank on one of your friends. Maybe they have perished. The source of the passing out, or let's say the source of their death, most likely wasn't you in the end. But you still think you're gonna be a killer, right? Someone who's broken or the such. This is the biggest problem that I see in a lot of people because not only it is destabilizing your body, making you much more prone for diseases and for future failures. Because once you focus on something so much, it will become just like a vampire. And the more you allow it to vampirize you, aka the more you think of it, the stronger you make it, the more it will vampirize you. Your attention span will also shorten. Let alone, let's not forget that, attention span is kind of short on most people anyways. That is why accidents can happen. And, this is an unfortunate spiral, right? The lower your attention span is, the more you are going to be prone, most likely, to accidents. And the death spiral will continue. Hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated. Take care, enjoy life, and this being said, Ferenjan Board signing out.